Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to, we're gonna look at the latest news for Flight Simulator 2024, because a lot of news has been announced today, and I don't want you to miss it, because it's really exciting news. If you missed the full lineup of the aircrafts, then have a look at my channel, because I posted a video earlier today which goes into detail which videos are included in which version. Which also brings us to the versions which will be released for Flight Simulator 2024. So as you can see, here's a table. I created small tables with, I would say, the versions. You've got the standard, deluxe, and premium. Those were the versions which we already were used to. But also there's the Aviator's version. And the Aviator's version is a lot more expensive compared to the other ones. But there's also more included. And that's also the same thing which we see with the standard, deluxe, and premium, right? So the standard version, if you get a game pass, then the standard version is included. So then you're good to go. Then you've got 70 aircrafts, and then you've got 150 airports which are included. And it's both available on the PC Game Pass as well as the Xbox Game Pass Unlimited on day one. And day one is indeed the 19th of November. Then the deluxe version, it's a little bit more expensive, but it contains 10 additional aircrafts and 5 additional airports which are being handcrafted, right? Besides that, it includes everything which is included with the standard edition. And if you want to go an additional step, then you can go for premium, which is between brackets the most expensive version currently for Flight Simulator 2020, but not for Flight Simulator 2024. Because there's another one, which we will discuss in a few seconds. The premium will contain 95 aircrafts, 155 airports. And that's in addition to the other items which are included with both the deluxe and the standard version. Now, if you really want to go extravaganza, then you can buy the Aviator's version, which includes, yes, 125 aircrafts. 160 airports, and the good thing is that it includes all the content from the other editions, plus 30 additional aircrafts from 2020 to 2024. And these are aircraft which have been released, let's say, during the time frame where Flight Simulator 2020 was released. So likely these are the additional aircrafts which you might already have bought separately. I would say during that time frame, right? So keep that in mind that you might have some additional content if you buy this one, or might have some double content, I should say. Then another exciting item is, of course, the system requirements are now available. And there are a lot of changes, right? First of all, it's using DirectX number 12. And of course, you need to have Windows 10 with the latest updates. Surprise, surprise. And then if we look at the CPU, the minimum spec is an AMD Ryzen 2600X or Intel Core i7-6800K. Then if you want to go for a step further, right, the recommended specs is the AMD Ryzen 7 2700X or the Intel Core i7-2700K. If you really want to go really expensive with the idle specs, then you would need to have the AMD Ryzen 9 7900X or the Intel IT14700K. The strange thing is that they don't talk specifically about the 3D versions of AMD, which are, let's say, having a huge performance boost for Flight Simulator 2020. But likely you will, I would say, if you got the 3D versions, you likely will have a better performance even than compared to these CPUs. Then from GPU perspective, we can see a wide variety, right? So if we focus on the minimum spec, we've got the Radeon RX 5700 or the GeForce GTX 970. For the recommended specs, you will need to have the same graphic card, but then the XT version, or you would need to have the GeForce RTX 2020. And this one is a little bit weird, right? Because this one is already a pretty old card. Me, myself, I have a 2000 RTX 2070, if I'm correct. Yeah, 2070. So this really, I would say, is a relatively old card for the recommended specs. But if you want to go I would say again, extravaganza, then you need to have the RX 7900 XT from Radeon, or you would need to have the GeForce RTX 4080. So this is a surprise for me because I thought, okay, hey, likely they will put in the RTX 4090, but the GeForce RTX 4080 is the one which you have for the idle specs. Looking at the VRAMs, we can see an increase right from 4 up to 12 gigs of VRAM, which you do need. Keep in mind that if you buy the GeForce RTX 4080 Super, then you will have 16 gigs, so you have got 4 more compared to the idle specs. Then the memory. And the memory surprised me a bit, because remember when you're looking for the Flight Simulator 2020 specs, the maximum was 32 gigs, and now it has been increased to 64 gigs. And that, I would say, is a lot. But I would say it might make sense, right? Depending on all the architecture changes which they made in the simulator. Then from storage perspective, they say it's 50 gig. But if you read through the documentation which is available on their website, they made a lot of changes which would require only 30 gig for the installation of Flight Simulator 2020. So I do think that this is for the additional items which you would need to have. Besides that, what has been announced further, right? Nothing really new, because we know that it was already announced that it will be released on the 19th of November and will directly be available for the PC Game Pass as well as the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Then I got some questions about the add-ons. So what's the add-on support for Flight Simulator 2020 items up to I would say where you want to use them in Flight Simulator 2024? I'd say it really depends. They say, okay, hey, we will continue to deliver the Flight Simulator 2020 roadmap. But if you focus on the purchases, which is like it has to do with the add-ons, they say that it's being transferable, but if you look very closely, they also say that it sometimes depends, right? So for any content outside the store, that completely depends on the developer, but you can simply move it over from the old community folder to the new community folder. So keep in mind that this will require some additional storage because you need to have the add-on installed twice. If you bought it via the marketplace, then you can likely go to the content manager, which is in Flight Simulator 2024 called the My Library, and then install the items from over there. That will again require additional storage. So going down the list, what happens if you own Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 content that has been upgraded for Flight Simulator 2024? So the good news is that the content you already purchased in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which means the Reno Air Races, the local legends, the famous flyers, and the expert series will be free for you, right? So they will be updated, so you can simply install them. For content which you purchased in Flight Simulator 2020, upgrades to all other, which means the non-Microsoft developers content, will have two options. One option is that the developer will give you a free upgrade. The other option is that you need to pay an additional fee to get the update. So really important. Then there's also non-owned content, right? Available in the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 marketplace. For any content, including existing content in the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 content, developers must sign off that content is functional for it to appear for sale in the marketplace. So that's something which is, say, something which the developers need to do, so you don't need to worry about this. Then if we're looking at the details further than that, they are, I would say, adding more information about, okay, what are the improved loading times? Well, you can see that there's a lot of dependency on the cloud. That also likely, I would say, clarifies why the installation, which is a space which is required on the disk, is not that high compared to what we need to do currently, right? With the world updates, well, sit back and relax because you need to install a lot. So when the user loads in the sim, only with textures, meshes, and map data that they need will be downloaded to avoid unnecessary bandwidth. This, I would say, is still a little bit vague terms, right? Because we really need to look at how it will be once the version is available. Because at one point, right, you still need to have the data. So I'm really wondering how that's being done. But this allows them also likely to keep the specifications for Flight Simulator 2020 or 2024 pretty low. airliners. I will show you a picture of the aircraft which are included in a few seconds. And then there are some other things like the missions and some other stuff. So nothing really new, but here you can see the core improvements, and that's really important, right? So multi-threading, that's really, I would say, one of the key features which was missing in the initial version. And also faster download, load, and installation speeds, likely due to the reducement in disk space required. Improved aerodynamics and physics simulations and improved aircraft systems, including electrical, pneumatic, fuel, and hydraulics. Then there's also a new wear and tear system, as well as failures, and deeper and wider avionics systems, right? So they spent some more time on the avionics systems, and the cockpit tablet is available by default. Then worldwide, you see multiple objects like vertical obstacles, oil rigs, glider airports, and heliports, and that's pretty nice. Besides that, there is the global digital twin in different ways. First of all, we got the static world, improved ground details, as well as more 3Ds and improved glyphs. We've got the living world, right, which means animal herds and migrations, worldwide live ship traffic. That's really depending on the data which they get from the live traffic information, and accurate live air traffic, as well as models and liveries. That's really cool, which make it more fun and more realistic if you are playing Flight Simulator 2024. In addition to that, there's also improved vehicle traffic, as well as more diverse character models. If we look at the dynamic world, then we can see full seasons. We can see the Aurora Borealis and Aurora Australis, tornadoes and storms. So even more fun with this when you're playing. Then this has been the list of announced partners. I will not go to it completely because I simply want to show you the list of, I would say, aircrafts, right? And to do that, we need to go to the homepage because the homepage has been fully updated, where you can see a lot of cool things, but you also see that you already can pre-order Flight Simulator 2024. And if you do that, then you will get the de Havilland Canada CL415, which you can use in Flight Simulator 2020. So if you, I would say, want to get this aircraft, and if you already want to spend some money, then you can do that, and you can buy it, right? You can buy, I would say, one of the 4 versions, as mentioned already, and then you will get the de Havilland Canada CL415 firefighting aircraft, which you can use in Flight Simulator 2020. Keep in mind that this is available only for a limited time. Likely the limited time ends, I would say, 1 day before Flight Simulator 2024 release, but that's currently unknown. It's not really clear from the documentation also. So going to the details here, right? Here we can see, I'd say, a summary. There's a nice story. If you didn't have time yet to read it, then read it because there's some really nice information. Also some, I'd say, answers from the, the product group, right? Jörg Neumann is there, which explains a lot. Earning your wings, right? Because the career system, that's completely new in Flight Simulator 2024. So this likely is introduced due to the fact that it will be also available on the Xbox, which makes sense because people who are playing on the Xbox might use Flight Simulator in a completely different way than if you played on the PC. And this will give you a lot of fun, right? A lot of missions which you can fly. You can also certify yourself. So really nice to see that they have added this. Then we can see the oil rigs over here. The improved twin, right? We can see some nice pictures. But I'm still going down, still going down. We can see the animals. The hot air balloons. This is the global super tanker. Remember, this one was developed by a third party and wasn't ever released due to some licensing issues. I do think that at that time, Asobo Microsoft already had that license, and that simply was the reason why they didn't release it. But hey, that's, let's say, kind of, let's say, something which I'm trying to figure out, but it's we probably never get confirmation. Then we've got the Dream Lifter, but if you scroll down further, you will get this nice big picture, which includes all the aircrafts. And here you can see a lot, right? If I would zoom in, then you can see a little bit better. So let me do that. So for the deluxe version, right, this one gets I would say likely the most new aircrafts, if you count the number of aircrafts included in a specific version, including I would say the Boeing company, the 747-400 LCE Dream lifter, as well as the 747-400 Global Supertanker, and the Airbus helicopter. If we go a little bit lower, we can see the Deluxe version, which gets some new Cessna airplanes, as well as the Dornier, also a new one. This Cessna, and the Amphibian Aerospace. And if we go to the standard version, well, don't be disappointed because you also get a lot of new things. Some new Airbus aircrafts, including the helicopter, including a hot air. Oh, no, it's not a hot air balloon, it's a Zeppelin. Uh, we can see the de Havilland Canada, DH6 Twin Otter. And maybe you see or you say, hey, some of these aircrafts, they look pretty familiar. Yeah, that makes sense because keep in mind that the article we just read is that they announced partners which have, I would say, created aircrafts. And to be honest, those aircrafts are already available in Flight Simulator 2020. Only then you need to pay for it. The good news is that in this case, these aircrafts and sometimes hot air balloons are already included in this standard version, right? So if you want to go next step, then you will get these additional aircrafts. And if you really want to go extravaganza, then you can go for the Premium Deluxe version, or you can go for the Aviator version, right? Which also includes everything which has been released for Flight Simulator from 2020 to 2024. And likely those are all the local legends, the expert versions, etc. But I'd say still is a little bit vague, but I do think that that's what they mean with that description. So a lot of news, a lot of posts. So if you want to get some more screenshots, because I also checked that, then there's also a preview roundup, because the preview roundup is containing both videos as well as some articles which have been created by, let's say, external parties. For example, the IGN, right? They already flew Flight Simulator 2024, so really nice to see. But also, if we go further, right, there are also some. Need my German is not too great, and this one also doesn't contain too much information. And there was another one which contained a lot of information. Yeah, so here you can see some more pictures, right, including some pictures also from animals, some more diverse people, right? This is where you definitely can see that what they mean with that. You can see that you can also walk outside of the aircraft. So pretty cool. Then if I would show you another website which isn't mentioned in the say articles themselves, I can also show you some interfaces, right? So if we would scroll down, there's the career mode, and the career mode will look like this, right? So this is the career mode. In this case, there's a French name. Hey, surprise, surprise! Asobo is French, so likely it's the name can be likely would say defined, right? It likely is attached to your profile, and this is how the would say career mode looks like, where you can be a commercial pilot. Of course, you can also play Top Gun, right, with the A-10 aircraft, which has been released. And virtual reality mode is also included. Um, so that's, let's say, pretty nice, right? So a lot of good news about Flight Simulator 2024. Currently, it's the 19th of September, right? So 19th of September. So we only, between brackets, only need to wait for 2 additional months until Flight Simulator 2024 is available. The good news is that we now know what the system specs will be, which helps us because then you can decide if you need to buy a new PC or maybe update your existing one. Or maybe you say, hey, the specs which I have are sufficient enough to play Flight Simulator 2024 once it has been released on the 19th of November. So here in this video, where we went to the latest news about Flight Simulator 2024, a lot of new stuff being announced today, including the versions, including the pre-order, which you can already do, where you get an aircraft already available for you to play in Flight Simulator 2020. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And of course, If you want to stay up to date about all the news around Flight Simulator 2020 and 2024, or maybe you're more interested in tutorials, then consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching again, and I wish you happy flying.